This is Media Bistro's Media Beat. I'm your host, Matt Van Hoven, and today we have RGA Chief Creative Officer Nick Law. Welcome to the show, Nick. Thanks for joining us.
It's great to be here.
Great. So we're going to start off asking you some industry-specific questions. The one that we've been discussing a lot lately in Agency Spy is sort of in terms of the back and forth between the UK and America. So do you think that there's still a rivalry there, like there used to be in the, in the earlier days of the business?
Yeah, it's more complicated because our industry is more complicated. So the thing I've always associated Britain with is craft. And so actually when I left Australia when I was 21, I went to London first because as a trained designer, I thought there's no one like the English when it came to kerning, right? So I moved to the other side of the world for typography because for me, London was a center of craft. And I think it's true in the traditional broadcast crafts too, that they've always been very good at it. The problem with being sort of fetishizing craft is that it makes you less nimble when big changes happen.
So in the US is more focused on
I think the Americans are more pragmatic generally, and I don't think they romanticize the craft and keep them sort of closed like guilds in the same way the English do. The benefit of that is that you create really strong, deep crafts and senses of fellowship around the craft. Whereas Americans are more pragmatic and more loose and open, just generally, I think. Yeah.
What's the most invaluable lesson you've learned this year?
This year? Wow. It's been a lot. This feels like the longest year in the history of mankind, in our industry at least. I think the lesson goes back to what I just talked about before, which is that the most important thing is to figure out context and then match your craft to the context. And that's important for someone like me because I manage talent. Our industry is real estate and talent, that's it. And so when I curate talent against work, we need to recognize that different work needs different talents for different contexts. And so that drives a lot more. So the old way of thinking was in an agency you had a good copywriter and a good art director and they could conceive of and sort of create anything that agency did, right? TV, print, direct mail, they all had that particular sort of reductive skill, that's messaging skill. It's not true now. There isn't like one set of talent that can do everything in our agency. So we got to figure out what we need to make first, and we figure out what we need to make based on context. You know, is it going to live in social media? Is it going to live in a templated medium? And then we curate talent against that. And why that's important is that if you don't do that, you get mismatches between talent and the work that you're doing. And that's, for us, that's the transition we're going through now, is making sure that we have the right talent to the right context.
Does that mean your staffing is always in flux as you build up certain parts of the business?
It does, yeah. It means it's sort of open, and our process at times can feel, especially from an outsider's point of view, very chaotic. Your relationship with other people creatively is not fixed. There are times when an interaction designer needs to lead something, and then there are times when a classic sort of storyteller will have to lead something. And there are times when they both need to sort of figure it out. So this sort of choreographing of collaboration becomes very important too. And it is unlike the traditional culture that I am familiar with in both the design and the advertising world, where your relationship to the work and other people is much more fixed. Because the templates that you're making for 30-second TV spot, right-hand print ad are fixed also. And that's just not true anymore, is it? It's all gone crazy.
Well, thanks, thank you for that candid answer. That's it for this segment. Join us again later this week when we'll talk about creativity. This is Nick Law.
Thank you.